Hi there, I'm Stephen Aish, and I wanted to thank you for joining me on this free introduction to basic kettlebell training. We're going to give you a brief overview of kettlebells, why they're so effective, why I think most people are really missing out if they're not using them. We're going to cover a few of the basic exercises. We're going to put those into a complex. So the idea of this introduction is that you've got something that you can take with you to use potentially for the rest of your life in order to tick that general box of the body was put through a decent overall basic workout. So why kettlebells? Obviously I'm in a gym and there's literally hundreds of different ways that you can get fit. You've got various forms of cardio. You've got rowing, you've got cycling, there's running, there's now the ski ergs, there's the assault bikes. You can obviously ramp up body weight training to be cardiovascular. You've got a host of equipment behind me in terms of there's barbells, there's dumbbells, there's all kinds of variations of logs, farmer's walk, medicine ball. Why kettlebells? I'll tell you why. I've been training with kettlebells for almost 20 years now. I was one of the first adopters in the UK in about 2000, 2001, give or take. And I've seen a rapid increase in their kind of effectiveness, if you will, because coaches are using them properly. We came off to a rough start initially. There was a lot of nonsense out there, but it's massively improved. So hats off to the people that are really kind of pushing this. Why kettlebells? Now that's an interesting question because there are literally hundreds of ways to train and get fit. My background is actually martial arts, which is, I think, second only to gymnastics in terms of overall effectiveness for strength, balance, flexibility, cardiovascular efficiency, mobility, etc. All of those things that would kind of be under that umbrella term of health, fitness, well-being. The great thing with a kettlebell is it's a single piece of equipment that has many uses. Literally about this big, and most people would never need more than 3. Unless, like myself, you like collecting them for some of the heavier training, some of the grip tests, some of the endurance work, or maybe you want to double up so that you've got the same weight in each hand. For the average person, they do exist, 3 kettlebells is absolutely fine. For me, if I had a 16, a 24 and a 32, I'm good to go. If I had a 16, maybe a 24, a 28 or even a 40, I wouldn't go any lower than that because what you'd find is you'd be working, almost think of it as going extremely easy on your bike when you could attack a minor hill, change gear, ramp it up a little bit. First of all, we're going to look at recommended weights for beginners. For females, I would say actually go to a gym and feel what a kettlebell or a dumbbell is like in terms of resistance. Maybe do some lifts, do some cleans, some presses, some swings, carry it, hold it for 30 or 60 seconds. That will give you a very good indication of your starting weight. What I would say is most women, if you consider that kind of bell curve, there's going to be people that can't yet train in a gym. And there's going to be athletes that would require a heavier weight and some seriously intense workouts. But for that bell curve, you're looking at an 8 kilos most of the time. For women that are quite familiar with strength training or already relatively fit, a 12 is a great place. Now, what you've got to do with kettlebells is put the ego to one side, and I'll tell you why. I was pretty strong before I got involved in kettlebell training. I picked up a 16, 24 and a 32, which is basically the competition set for Gyrvoy Sport. The 16 was great. 24, you felt it. And the 32, I could actually feel my hand opening as I swung the thing. Literally, it was going to fly away. So they are very humbling tools. And what I want you to consider is they're not used the same as you would some of the machines and equipment behind me. With your squats, you've got maybe wherever you are in your training, you may be doing 5-5, you may be doing 3 sets of 8 or 4 sets of 10 or 12 or maybe strength for 3. You're not going to do hundreds of repetitions. And that as a ballpark is mainly how kettlebells work and differ from other methods of training. You'll literally have maybe 5, 10 or 15 minutes on the clock. You'll pick several exercises, maybe superset, back to back, working along with some body weight stuff, some intervals as well with some other equipment. And you will literally maybe swing for 30 seconds, then do something else or rest, it's up to you. So you're literally looking at a few hundred repetitions in a space of time. And that's the beauty of kettlebells. You can literally get a full body workout in just 10, 15 or 20 minutes, depending on your requirements, your level, and what you require to challenge you. For the guys, I would recommend beginners with no strength training background. You're going to be fine jumping in with a 12 kilogram. Again, go to a gym, take a dumbbell off of the rack, hold it, carry it, clean it, press it, maybe do some bends, some swings. Get a feel. Now, it's not, can I lift this 3 to 4 times effectively and not break a sweat? It's, can I train with this for 10 or 15 minutes? So that's the difference. Whereas you can train multiple sets with a reasonably heavy dumbbell, you would not use that same weight for a 10-minute set kettlebell training. For guys that, let's say, tick that general box of they're athletic, they work out, they're not sports specific, they're not maybe athletic, they're into their strength and conditioning, rugby, track and field, MMA, that kind of stuff, I would say jump in at a 16. In fact, for most guys, unless you rock up as a world's strongest man competitor, an Olympic athlete or a competitive Olympic lifter, that kind of stuff, I would go with a 16 kilo, and I'll tell you why. We want you to learn the basics so that you minimize injury risk. You know how to flex at the hips and keep a neutral spine. You know about balance, force transfer, activation, posterior chain, bracing core. And let's be honest, once you can rep a kettlebell for maybe 300, 400 or 500 times during a session, that is pretty much your go ticket to upscale to the next weight. So you're looking at a 20, maybe a 24, depending on your goals. Now, most guys that maybe have a little bit of the, the competition, competitive edge, will want to go in for a bigger weight. Now, that's fine if you only want to maybe work some heavy swings, some heavy cleans, some farmer's walk. If you're looking more at the cardio side of literally starting the clock and having the timer going, or the interval on maybe a Fitbit or your watch, and let's say you've got 15 minutes of alternating stuff, it's going to be tough and it's going to be challenging. And I'll tell you why. I've had triathletes. Now, these are very fit people, and I've literally blown them to bits with several minutes of circuits because they're used to a specific form of training. For example, legs and lungs for the running, for the cycling. Swimming's a little bit more challenging, but it never really lasts longer than, well, I don't know, probably 10, 15, 20 minutes. I'm not sure of the distances. When a triathlete that's used to training for several hours literally flumps, and I've had at least 3 of these, and they've bought in, if you understand. They've drunk the Kool-Aid. They've realized that a huge part of their growth is going to come from training in this format. We call it peripheral heart rate training, and that means a combination of lower body, upper body, with the core being braced. And for example, the 2-hand swing, I would say possibly activates around 80% of the musculature of the body. You've got the abs working isometrically so that you don't fly after the weight. You've got the forearms working, you've got the lats bracing, you've got the glutes and the hamstrings working. There's a lot of upper rear back to brace so that the weight doesn't pull you forwards. So there's a huge amount of activation, and the beauty of kettlebell training is you largely stay on the spot. You can move around doing stuff, but you can actually work out in pretty much a meter square and have a fantastic workout. Combinations of swings, squats, cleans, presses, snatch, some windmills, maybe finish with some get-ups. bump in some star jumps, some press ups, maybe some isometric work, and finish with a set of squat thrusts or burpees, whatever your choice of finisher. So they do tick that box of full body done. And that's why I'm a huge fan of them. So why kettlebells? Mainly because they are one of the only tools that come in a nice portable format that you would only ever need maybe 2, 3, more if you decide to double up, that could literally serve you in terms of ticking that box of today I had a good challenging workout and I feel better for it. That's the deal with kettlebells. So on the next video, what we're going to do is ensure that you can move properly before we let you loose on the weights.